Hey there, my name is Pravus. Welcome back to more Hearts of Iron 4, The Great War. We are playing as Italy in the midst of World War I, and we don't have a lot more time, IRL, before the new expansion No Step Back comes out, so we've kind of got to hurry things along here. That said, we're in a horrible stalemate. My allies appear to be making some rather suicidal pushes in a few different directions over here. We're not doing great on logistics, especially for such things as support equipment. So if we don't get that figured out, we're in a bit of trouble, and I don't have enough tanks for a meaningful amount of breakthrough. Like, Italy just does not have enough of an industrial base to be a super contender in a lot of this stuff. So yeah, we're sort of sitting in a really weird spot. Now, one thing I could start doing is start creating a 40 combat width division, which wouldn't be bad. Where did some of these guys come from? Colonial troops? I don't remember where they guys came from. Must have been from something. Anyway, we could start creating some 40 combat width infantry. And that at least would let me stack up some breakthrough, but look at this. Even if I doubled this up, we're looking at only 70. And the defense for a single unit is going to be so much higher. Like, until we find a way of getting at least 200 breakthrough, which so far is pretty much heavy tanks or bust, it's not easy to overcome the defensive stats. We're really in such a stalemate right now. It's pretty horrible. And yeah, again, my allies are just kind of suiciding themselves all along the mountains. I don't know what they think they're doing. So I don't know. If we can find ways to kind of push through very aggressively against Germany and just surround Munich, for example, that'd be great. But somehow I need to take factories, or else our war machine is just going to come down to a crawl. And unless I'm able to produce some more support equipment, I don't really know what happens there. We are getting our heavier infantry and such out of there at the moment. We're trying to escape back into Venice. So I stopped costing myself quite so much in attrition, but even so, the attrition, especially in this zone, is costing me a lot of equipment right now. Like, this just is not looking good. We're gonna have to make use of jump cuts. I suspect we're gonna find ourselves in a horrible stalemate for a good long while, until something, somehow, changes. And I don't really know what that's gonna be. Is it possible for us to get some additional factories in a state? Yes, if I go for the heavy industry ahead of time, this would let me build up some additional factories, which is something I really, really kind of need. So all right, we'll try for that, and in the meantime, I've really got to get my troops out of here so they stop costing me so much in attrition, because this is just painful. In the meantime, we have claimed German Africa. I don't know how much good that really does you after the fact, but I mean, it's a thing. Whatever. Prepare for war. Yeah. Is there anything that would let me just get like a load of free factories or something? Some of this stuff, the Treaty of Versailles, yeah, some of this is actually expected to be following World War I's conclusion. Because remember, this mod is not just a World War I overhaul, it also is World War I going into World War II. So yeah, I don't really care about things like the infrastructure and the air bases there. Italian claims kind of meh. And yeah, none of this is going to be much of a thing. Joint Entente is kind of already done. Oh gosh, there's really not much going for me here. What about like an industrial stuff? We could go for some infrastructure efforts and try to gain some additional factories this way, and I suppose that's kind of my best option, but it's not a very nice one. I'm going to try to launch an offensive across the river over here. There aren't a ton of Germans over here. Yes, they have a defensive advantage, and my god, that defense certainly is going to hurt. They decrypted my, my stuff. Okay, that's great. My thought is, if I can at least punch through something here with my superior numbers, at the very least inflict enough casualties that they have to retreat. This might be my opening. There's really not that many Germans defending. I mean, honestly, why the French and Americans aren't pushing harder, I don't know. I feel like you should be able to win this even with this being as hard as it is. But I still think the idea of pushing through to Hanover, at least grabbing this side of the river, could be kind of nice. I just hate that I'm giving the factories to France. But what matters at this point, really, is forcing the AI to try to pull back at least a little bit. We are starting to slowly catch back up on things like support equipment. It is still tough, but we're getting there. And I did create a 40 combat with artillery division, which I'm slowly starting to swap out some units. And I'm going ham on the artillery, even when I normally shouldn't be. Like 6 artillery, it's a bit excessive, but considering I know the enemy doesn't have that much breakthrough, I don't need as much defense. What I need is as much soft attack as possible for raw casualties. It's such a different way of playing the game. Don't worry about breakthrough so much, just bomb them all to heck. I'm not sure I like it, to be honest. I miss the finesse of the tanks. Oh my gosh, yes, Japan, 48 support equipment per month. Please, please, and thank you. My god, that will make such a difference. All right, we broke through We're starting to make some progress. As long as I continue to reinforce in different directions, we should be able to sustain a larger push. He doesn't have a whole lot going for him right now. If we can successfully push all the way past to Magdeburg, heck, I'd love to start heading up toward Denmark and Rostock if we can do that. Ho-ho! Then we actually will get a whole load of free kills and we'll be within striking distance of Berlin. That would be huge. The crazy thing is, in so many ways, this actually is how a lot of warfare went in World War I. You would have them committing to these big pushes, like everyone would just have battle lines. They would sit there in their trenches and bomb at each other for a while. And then, if they managed to get a breakthrough, there'd be a sudden push, then they'd meet resistance, they'd have to set up their trenches again, and that was just it. That's just how World War I went for so long. It's one of the reasons it was such an unbelievably bloody war, but, you know, if I can turn that history in my favor, so be it. There are lessons we can learn here. Okay, great success. We've made it across the river, and we're pushing up into, I guess this is Schleswig-Holstein, but you get the idea. So we managed to cut off at least a handful of troops over here. It's not a ton, but the good news is I don't really have to worry about maintaining my front lines after we've conquered it, because I've got so many allies popping in here, they can handle the rest most likely. So now we should be able to get extra factories in a state. That's going to be helpful. The extra infantry recovery rate could be nice, but I think I'll instead go for the production efficiency. We're just going for raw industry at this point. And I am trying desperately to improve some of the infrastructure in Tyrol, which it looks like actually has made a big difference of finally getting us back out of a supply bottleneck in this area. It's still not enough to really win anything, but at least it does help a little bit. As far as factories are concerned, it looks like the extra 10% in all states made zero difference. Okay, no, we're still screwed. That's great, yeah. Ugh, gosh, Italy is just not an economic powerhouse. As much as I wish it were, it just isn't. My God. Hey, why are we not just cutting this guy off over here so that he can't... well, that's why. Hang on. Let's split a few of these guys off and see if we can push off this 1 unit, 2 units, 3 units. Gosh dang it, they're flooding in now. Okay. And thank you, Japan, for canceling that Lend-Lease. I know you think that I'm finally getting enough support equipment, but I assure you I would like a lot more. Did research an upgrade for some fighters, so I guess now's a good time to go ahead and start improving that since we are sitting on way more air experience than I need. Some extra range actually wouldn't be half bad, and then, yeah, I guess we need more reliability and stuff. Good lord, this is going to take a lot. Probably shouldn't go quite this ham, because I want to make sure we save some points for some better close air support, as long as we have the skies, which I'm pretty sure between all the allies we do. It's going to be more important that we save some air experience to upgrade my bombers when the time comes. Nonetheless, this should be at least pretty decent. So, okay, an upgrade for our fighters. Excellent. Okay, we're bringing the tanks into the north. They are certainly helping at least a little bit with that breakthrough value. I'm loving what I'm seeing here. So it looks like we finally have enough pushing power, backed up by the force of raw artillery, to start actually making an aggressive push. And I don't see any reason why we couldn't just make a beeline for Berlin right now, as long as these tanks are leading the charge and I don't run out of them. And at least right now, it says that we're doing sort of okay. I do think we need to make sure we pin down as many enemies as possible so that they can't get back to the front lines to reinforce. We should be trying to clear out any of these little pockets as we can go. And off we go, we're about to hit Berlin. Okay. The Italians did something! What should we do? The situation in Germany has become too much to bear. Force them to sign a treaty, armistice with the Allies, or the fight shall continue! I mean, I don't think the situation in Germany has become too much to bear. It seems like Germany's doing fine. It's actually Austria-Hungary that seems to be giving us a little bit of trouble. But, yeah, so let me think about this for a second. We could just end it. What happens with the armistice? It's an event. Would we get to claim land? Because if I don't get to claim land, then all of this is going to feel like it was for nothing. That said, let's keep in mind, we're not even that far away from capitulating the Germans. They're at 74% of the way there with the loss of Berlin. With some good encirclements, we might be able to clear these guys out pretty quick. As far as my own personal participation, it's only 11%. You've got to be kidding. I hate the war score system. The fight shall continue! Screw it! We're killing the Germans. Dang it, we're going to kill them all! Kill them all! Alright, how do we go fast? I need to go fast, like Cernic to Hergherg. Can we possibly... Well, first off, where the frick are my cavalry? Maybe we can start doing some really aggressive pushes and take a lot of stuff down around like Dresden and Leipzig. And if we can push over here to the west and just kind of encircle, that'll be a good bunch of troops around Magdeburg. Alternatively, we just push east toward Danzig, but that might be too wide of a front line. I'd rather try to use my fast-moving cavalry and a pair of tanks to start moving really fast and conquer as much land here as we can, as quickly as we can, before these guys have a chance at stopping me. So I'm going to reorganize some of my cavalry and pray that we have enough speed on our side. The good thing about these heavy tanks, as kind of annoying as they've been up to this point, is they have a lot of staying power. I mean, even if they don't have the highest organization, just that hardness value, ensuring that the enemy doesn't have a lot of heart attack and can't do much damage, means they can just kind of sustain a fight for a surprisingly long time. So, all right, we managed to get around Stettin and Berlin, got down to Dresden, got down to Leipzig. That's kind of about as far as I'm able to get, though, because the Austrians saw that, well, bad things were about to happen and decided to send about as much as they could over here. Now, that might mean that there are some new opportunities. Let me see. I don't see any obvious chinks in their armor. We do want to clear all this out, though. I think that would make a lot of sense. Oh, I kind of forgot that we had people down here in Africa fighting over all this. Hi, how you doing? Okay. Well, maybe we get something down there. Maybe we don't. I do have this entire army just sitting back with nothing to do. I guess we might as well continue transferring a few of these troops to 40 combat wits, because when the time does come for a major fight, I want to make sure that we have as much focused fire soft attack as possible. And these guys, I'm going to go ahead and let them start training because they're about to lose all of their experience. We'll bring them into front lines later. The only problem with bringing them in right now, is supply. Supply is going to be truly atrocious because of the way the AI works. And this is something that I'm looking forward to seeing change the next expansion. They're supposed to allow you, I think, the option to tell the AI, your allies, do not stack up your units here and suck up all my supply. Which is like such a huge quality of life improvement. You better believe I'm excited about that. Okay, we have researched an upgrade for my bomber. That could be kind of nice for me. Do we really care that much about airships? I mean, they're okay as, like, strategic bombers, but, like, that's kind of all they can do. I think I probably would rather not focus on that any more than I have to. Let's go ahead and work on the infantry recovery rate, and then, yes, let's go ahead and upgrade these bombers. There you are, early bomber. For you, again, I think some range. Bombing apparently is a stat in this specifically. Okay. And a bit of reliability would be nice. I don't know that engines matter all that much. In this, agility can be nice, but is it crucial? I don't know. I think overall this is alright. The extra range is pretty nice because it means that I can have air bases a bit further back and still get as much coverage as possible, and that certainly is going to make a difference. So let's go ahead and start upgrading all of these. Still haven't upgraded my heavy tanks, but that's mainly because I still only have 181 in reserve, and on the off chance I start losing a bunch thanks to attrition, I want to make sure that I've got some of those. So the next goal is probably to get down over here and see if we can find a way to make a glorious push down this direction. And if we can do that and cut off all these troops, one nice big encirclement over here, that'll be pretty significant. Not only to get the Germans out, but also the Austrians. How are the Germans doing, by the way? They are at 87% of the way towards capitulation. We really need to take things like Munich and Nuremberg. But there's so many Austrian troops holding the front line over here. Previously, it was just the Germans. The Austrians are like, you're on your own. Not anymore. Now the Austrians are feeling a little bit scared because their back door around Prague and Bohemia is, well, kind of vulnerable right now. So, understandably, they'd like to go ahead and protect themselves. Let's go get Wilhelmshaven down out of the way. It shall not be a haven for Wilhelm much longer. But the idea being, of course, let's just go ahead and clear these guys out so that we can have our allies focus their efforts on more important places. Well, my attempt to apply a noose around Thuringen here is not getting very far. Unsurprising, I guess. It's still kind of a tough area to crack. There's so much going on the map, I can't even see what's happening right now. But over in the east, we're making some pretty aggressive pushes over here down toward Warsaw. Liberation of Poland, everybody, I'm just saying. But, yeah, the goal basically is to just try to rob them as many victory points as possible. I'm trying to force Germany out. If Germany's out and all this territory flips over to France, that opens up the back door to really start pushing hard against Austria. And what I'd love to do is get down to Warsaw and then just start pushing right down the middle. Force them to split their forces. They'll probably end up protecting Vienna, but they'll lose so many factories in the process. It would be amazing. Mostly doing okay logistically speaking, having a little bit trouble on some field guns, and that's mostly due to the attrition of fighting off in this area. Supply really cannot support this many troops at all, which is probably the main reason that we're actually failing in this assault, is we just simply can't quite push that well, but oh well, we're trying, dang it, I'm gonna get there. Soviet Russia declares war on Ukraine. That's a little ominous, not especially surprising. I still don't know why the Russian Empire even exists, but yeah, they're going for the breadbasket of Europe, everybody. All right. And the German Empire capitulates, giving me, wow, practically no equipment at all. That's all you had left? Okay, well, there goes the German Empire. So that nonsense is done. I still have some territory over here, but that should be a pretty significant disarmament for them. All right, so everyone hold what you're doing, because the next goal is basically set yourself up basically around Krakow over here, I think, and we're just going to try to push down toward, like, Bratislava and Budapest. This is probably a little too aggressive, but we're going to have to try for it, and hope that the Allies actually can catch back up. In the meantime, ooh, we actually did almost make a good pocket over here. Hang on. Hang on. If the Germans just had to leave a lot of this stuff alone, that actually just cut off so many reinforcements. Holy crud. Maybe we actually can still make this work. Hang on. I'm not giving up yet. Hang on. Ukraine is already dead. Truth be told, I cannot say that I am terribly surprised. Come on, if we can just punch through this little choke point right here. I'm trying to prevent any reinforcements from coming into their aid, which seems to be working. I mean, there's only so many places for them to go. Yeah, if we can push back down over here. So no reinforcements coming to this choke point. They're stuck in all directions. I think we're about to get it. There we go. That's the encirclement. It's not as drastic as it would have been with the Germans still involved in the war, but it's a lot of Austrians who are going to be dead. Now we can start pushing. In fact, this might now be the grand assault that we were looking for, and good lord, they've left their southern border heavily undefended. Okay, I think we're going for it. So we are almost ready to end this war. The question is now going to be, what the heck is gonna happen? Are we gonna be allowed to take a lot of land? Because Italy needs it. And if you don't give me land, France, just understand, there's a certain movement that is building in Italy, and a very influential guy who likes to pound on his desk a lot, who's gaining some power. So I'm just warning you. I'm not saying I'm going to be a fascist. I'm just saying I'm going to be a fascist if you don't give me some land. So we'll see how that goes. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If so, I would ask you to hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.